리하 리하 판도라 리하 와빠 라이스 리하 아라님 리하. Welcome everyone. That's not Fariha. Computex, yeah. I don't know if it's cause if I'm less enthused about the entire computer hardware industry right now, or if there really is less interesting news, less interesting new products, technologies, but man, there's not many. I didn't find many interesting news bits to bring to you guys. Rielle hates tech. I might now. It might be over. Tech peaked around like 2010. At the beginning of the quad-core era. Speaking of being back to caveman era, let's start with this bit of news. I'm gonna dive straight into Computex news. Or, you know, just recent news, I guess. Some of these are not Computex. PCI Gen 6 SSDs to push 28 gigabytes per second for servers. Desktop variants still need to wait. Doing well, thank you. Hello, hello. Rielle tilted at food yesterday after learning cheese crunchies do not hail from Borgel. Apparently, Australians made twisties. Spoiler for yesterday's. Anyway, PCI Gen 6 SSDs target AI servers before gaming PCs. PCIe Gen 6 storage is starting to appear across Computex. The first wave of products is aimed at enterprise SSDs. Bison's X3 controller targets up to 28 gigabytes per second sequential throughput. And up to 6.8 million IOPS. That's quite impressive. Integrid is also showing PCI Gen 6 controllers up to 28 gigabytes per second versus... Okay, these are both 28 gigabytes per second. Up to 22 gigabytes of... Okay, read speed 28 gigabytes, write speed 22. 2 million random IOPS. For desktop users, PCI Gen 6 storage is still years away. Consumer platforms are only now moving fully into PCIe 5.0 storage. And upcoming client platforms are not expected to make Gen 6 SSD standard at any time soon. Hey, consumers, desktop users. We have you covered. Don't worry, says SanDisk. SanDisk brings back affordable storage to rescue buyers from SSD crisis. New 320 series and 520 series SATA SSDs, new, are ready to launch. Many will consider SATA old technology in the storage realm, but when things get tough, you can always rely on it. Like being limited to 600 megabytes per second? Well, there you go. Or 550, because, you know, there's the bus overhead. So yeah, sequential read 560 for 520 series. Sequential read for 320 series is 544. And sequential write for both of them is 525. 1000 terabyte write endurance for 4 terabyte version, which is half of the typical TLC M.2 SSDs that usually come with around 2000 terabyte writes or 2400 terabyte writes ish. The controller and NAND inside the SanDisk 320 and 520 remain a mystery for now. Rielle hates me. Did you say something? I just see you coming and crying, so I don't know why you think that. But hello, welcome. It's been a while. I hope you like your plebeian SATA storage, everyone. Gigabyte shows first Z990 motherboard for Intel Nova Lake S features 3 8-pin power connectors. I'm assuming these are 3 EPS power connectors. Je ne sais pas. That's a lot of power. Actually, one of these is not EPS. The leftmost one is actually the PCIe power connector. See, look, the slots are different. The pins are different. PCIe power. PCI Express power connector, header connector. Termination looks like this. Okay, there we go. Copy, paste. Eight-pin has... On the latch side, 8-pin has square, square... What is this? Squared off squares? Squares and non-squares, and then non-squares plus 1 square, so... On the latch side, we have square, square, non-square, non-square, and then 3 plus 1. So this is a PCIe, this is a graphics power connector. These two are EPS, so this is probably for the CPU. This is for the CPU, and I'm assuming this is for I don't know what. Maybe... question mark... Backside... BTF slash stealth slash whatever MSI calls there. Backside GPU power delivery question mark. But then if you look at the front, there's also another 8-pin here, which is also an 8-pin GPU connector. So this motherboard has 2 8-pin GPU connectors on it for question mark. Perhaps it's cause I don't know, cause it supports 6 M.2 SSDs and you need more power for that, but these usually use like 10 watts max, so 6 of those is only 60 watts. I don't know what you need an 8-pin power connector which is rated for 150 watts and you have 2 of those, so that's 300 watts. I like my tech news with say side of tsundere. USB-C power delivery. Ooh, that's a good point. Perhaps. Kongfuri ha. Yeah, maybe for USB power. So say one of these is for USB power delivery and the other is for... something. It's not for like GPU backside power delivery because there is no power connector for it on the board. Yeah, I don't know what the other one's for. Double USB power delivery. Or maybe the port supports more than 150 watts. Anyway, pretty cool. Glad the article's wrong and only has 2 EPS 8 pins. I'm sure someone on the internet pointed this out already, but... Hey, at least I found out on my own. I'm feeling very SMRT right now. Pretty cool thing about this motherboard is that it comes with a fan, a magnetic fan that attaches to the heatsink for cooling the DDR5 sticks here. This CPU can go up to 400 watt question mark. I don't know. No one knows. This is for Novalink. And EPS, a single EPS already powers 300 watts. So double that, you get 600 watts. So I don't think you'll need more than 600 watts for a desktop consumer CPU. 600 watts is like maxed out Threadripper territory. Yeah, many modern motherboards already do come with double EPS connectors on the board. As Intel be like, yes, we want more than 300 watts. No, Lake, got it. Say no to Intel. Nova Lake. Some K woman was yelling at me. I thought you lived in India, question mark? There are Korean people there? That's unfortunate. Sorry you got yelled at. If they chase after you while yelling at you, you got... you got a K-Life. PC monitor review. No. Computex is a consumer, quote-unquote consumer... No. Computer hardware tech show that takes place in Taiwan in June. It just happened this week, so we're just looking at all the Computex news. Market Melody Hariha. Anyway, I thought the most interesting bit was the support for 6 M.2 SSDs. That's pretty cool. How many SATA slots does it have? And before, no SATA. Not seeing SATA. Maybe it's in this corner here that's covered. Yeah, I'm not seeing SATA on this board. Although this corner of the motherboard is not shown, so perhaps it's there. MSI has a new next-gen cooler on display or had a new next-gen cooler on display at Computex with metallic fan blades. Hope you don't stick your finger in there by mistake. It's even ultra thin. Yeah. Waiting for lawsuit, the GPU cooler. Also, apparently these thermal putties have diamond composite. Or uses a diamond composite material. You're paying more for the danger. I was like, wait, hold on. Does that even make sense? Does using diamond in thermal putty paste even make sense financially? Is it gonna be like hundreds of dollars per card? And no, it turns out powder diamond isn't actually that expensive. So this random vendor in the US is selling 50 carat of powdered diamond, regardless of the grit, or just, well, quote unquote, just $71. Now, 50 carats is 10 grams. 50 carats is 10 grams, so in a tube, let's say in a 2-gram tube of thermal paste, let's say it's 50% diamond. That's only $7.1. Industrial diamonds are cheap, engagement diamonds are propped up by the cartel. Well, it's also because diamonds used in jewelry have to be big, right? Powder can be, you know, any of those like scrap bits or small diamond that you find that are not suitable for jewelry uses. But possibly also by the price fixing cartel. I'm sure there's some kind of that in any industry. That does not look like diamond powder. Yeah, maybe it's yellow diamond. Jellyfish님 리하. Now you just need a nuclear fusion engine, then you can fuse them into one big diamond. Putting, sure, but lab-grown diamonds are vastly cheaper than natural. Yeah, I'm sure that's the case too. Matcha powder. No, it's like way too light to be matcha powder. 45시간을 자고 일어났더니 허리가... 아니 어떻게 사람이 45시간을... Is it tasty? I have no idea. I've never tried diamond powder, so who knows. But yeah, MSI integrating diamond powder into their thermal putties and pads and paste or something, so pretty cool. Haha, you got it? You get that? Cool, it's cool. Ha ha ha. Anyway, probably tastes like sand. If it's pure diamond, then it probably won't taste like anything and you'll just taste or feel the texture, but not any taste, because diamond's not gonna react with anything in your mouth. Not gonna melt. Not gonna, yeah, get chemically altered. 말 그대로 노말. 그렇겠죠. 인공 다이아몬드, 인조 다이아몬드를 썼겠죠. 이런 데는. 왜 굳이 천연 다이아몬드를. Well, diamond's pretty cool. How about some Swarovski crystals on your video card? Galaxy shows GeForce RTX 6090 concept with Swarovski crystals as if current cards are not expensive enough. Oh yeah, Swarovski crystals on my GPU. Yes, please. Not. Definitely want these, right? Crystals on my GPU. Yeah. Crystals as LED diffuser. Sparkly RGB. 진짜 해경려봉에도 섭취 절대 금기 라벨. 저 해경려봉은 무슨 맛일까? 과연 인생 최후의 맛이겠지? 죽여주는 맛이겠지. SteamOS Beta adds early support for Intel handhelds. MSI Claw joins SteamOS beta changelog. However, it's not clear if the new Panther Lake parts are included. Where's that bit of news? MSI Claw 8 EX AI Plus costs $1,700 at Best Buy. $1,700. What you get for $1,700? Best Buy listing confirms 8-inch Full HD display, although 16 by 10, so that it has 1200p display. Product name mentions 120Hz, while the key specification section lists 144Hz. MSI's own announcement lists an 8-inch 120Hz VR display. And this uses Intel Arc G3 Extreme, which has 12 Xe GPU cores, versus the Intel Arc G3 Non-Extreme, which has 10 cores. And speaking of which, another interesting bit is that Intel are using the Arc branding for its handheld APUs. Until now, any APU usually carried the CPU brand name, but this is carrying the GPU brand name, Arc, instead of Core, which I found really interesting. And Tom Peterson, in his interview with PC World, was saying that this is more like a GPU with CPU cores added to it, not the other way around. I mean, I think it's fine. It makes their products a little more confusing, but perhaps it's a sign that Intel are serious about their GPU business. And to add to that, Intel comments on Arc GPU future as B770 remains absent. Intel exec says Arc GPUs are not leaving Intel's PC roadmap. During a Q&A with journalists in Taiwan, Intel Client Computing Group General Manager Alex Katuzian said GPUs remain a super important part of the company's PC lineup, according to tweakers. The statement came after questions about Intel's future desktop graphics because they didn't release B770. And there are rumors of Celestial GPU desktop GPUs being canned. Now, this statement, GPUs remaining super important, means nothing to people waiting for a dedicated GPU, like a video card. Alex could simply have meant integrated GPUs for handhelds and laptops and mini PCs. And us enthusiasts and gamers, I guess we just stay sad. Noctua's first AIO CPU coolers launch June 16, starting at 220 euros. Comes in three radiator sizes: 240, 360, and 420mm models, with an Asetek pump and Noctua G2 fans. Watch the Gamers Nexus video on Noctua instead if you want additional detail. Noctua's Jacob, forgot his last name, goes over things they did to improve the acoustic signature of the pump. Using vibrometers to optimize the way that the pump casing would vibrate so that it does not create as much annoying noises. Pretty cool stuff. The pricing is pretty steep though, 220 euros for the 240mm version. Maxon presents AMD Polaris GPU. These are from 2017 or 2016. 10-year-old GPUs at Computex 2026. Radeon RX 580 with 6 HDMI ports. Or, I don't know, people with lots of screens. People looking at stock all day or something. I don't know. Enable multi-screen productivity on up to 6x 4K by 30Hz displays. Oh, where was that article? There was an article that I forgot to leave open, I guess. Regarding N1X, here we go. NVIDIA RTX Spark N1 and N1X pricing estimates point to premium systems. Morgan Stanley estimates high prices for NVIDIA's Windows on ARM platform. N1X based laptops may not be priced below $2,900. PCs based on the lower tier N1 variant may start at $1,800. Big money for NVIDIA label tax. I'm curious how the compute. The CPU cores will compare to Qualcomm's Snapdragon X whatever. Too long of a name. Windows CPUs. Asus unveils ProArt P16, 14 laptops with NVIDIA N1X, confirms 140 watt headroom in its ProArt mini PC. Aimed at local AI workloads. Up to 140 watt thermal headroom. Wait, no, that's a mini PC. I was like, wait a minute, 140 watts in a laptop that's slim? NVIDIA, is that like a knockoff NVIDIA? Maybe that's why it's cheap. Zotac Magnus 1 Ultra Mini PC features 20-core CPU and RTX 5080 desktop GPU. Zotac claims to have world's smallest mini PC with desktop GeForce 5080. At 11.46 liters. Need I remind them? Need I remind them that the Forn DT1 exists already and it's 10 liters? 9.95 liters. And fits a Founders Edition 5090, as well as Founders Edition 5080. So, I don't know what Zotac are trying to do here. Congrats. But it's actually nothing impressive. Asus demos 48-volt power transmission for GTX 5090 set to 1000 watts. Asus raised the card from the usual 600 watt or 800 watt on the Matrix to 1000 watts at 48 volts. The GPU Twig 3 screenshot shows 48.1 input voltage and 1030.3 watt total power consumption. On a single 12 volt 2x6 connector. However, it was carrying 48 volts. Which translates to 3.5 amp per wire. The photo of GPU Tweak 3 shows per pin readings between 3.56 and 3.71 amp, which lines up with the calculation. Yeah, there you go. 3.68, 3.71, 3.56. Now, finally 12 volt high power, high failure. Will not catch on fire. Yeah, there's a reason why consumer Domestic power cables can get by with 14 AWG wiring. Next time you connect your desktop PC to the wall, check out the cables, wires, AWG, and check what that is. It's probably 14 or 16 or even 18 AWG. And they can carry like 1000 and plus watts of energy. So power. So why are GPU connectors melting all the time when they're using 16 AWG? Because the voltage is lower, therefore the current is much higher. And by increasing the voltage, you get less current and less heat generated. YP, I don't want to hear your journaling unless it's related to the stream. Corsair shows AX1600i shift and transparent HX1000i shift crystal power supplies. I think this is actually pretty cool. The HX1000i, they even have white inductors. Now that's some dedication. What's that USB looking connector? That's for their, pretty sure that's for their RGB stuff. Yeah, it's probably to connect RGB as well as to control RGB, as well as transmitting data from the PSU, like per pin reading. Corsair also added Pin Protect Plus to the HX1000i shift crystal. This feature provides per pin overcurrent protection system for the native 90-degree 12V 2x6 cable and shows cable current monitoring through iQ. This follows the company's recent focus on GPU power cable protection. Oh, Corsair. Yeah, Corsair. I still think it's pretty cool. Now, I might actually prefer to see the old Game Boy style, almost transparent translucent plastic casing to this clear, whatever, acrylic or whatever the heck this is. 황희찬님니하, who needs LCD OLED screens on PSU when you can make it transparent in crystal? Intel Wildcat Lake reference laptops uses Frore AirJet Mini for 15 watts sustained cooling. Fanless active cooling for Core Series 3 laptops. Core Systems has shown a new implementation of its AirJet Mini solid-state cooling inside an Intel Wildcat Lake reference laptop. The system uses AirJet module paired with a vapor chamber to cool Intel's Core Series 3 platform without a conventional fan. Frore's AirJet system has a solid-state membrane that goes up and down to create a vibration that apparently forces air through the holes at the top and then out the side. It has a copper heat plate at the bottom that is cooled by this airflow. The company has measured 28 dBA noise so far. 28 dBA is like nothing. I would like to see more laptops with air jets. You know, just put 2 of these on there for double the capacity. The noise level is softer than Rielle's smashing keyboard. I don't smash my keyboard, what are you talking about? I never last shot on my hardware. No. 3D Mark's next-gen ray tracing test adds native 4K, AI upscaling, and frame generation. The current highest end 3D Mark is Speedway, which runs at 1440p and tests DirectX 12 Ultimate features, including ray tracing. Now, 3D Mark also have a 4K testing called Steel Nomad, however that one doesn't have any ray tracing. Looks like the upcoming testing will include ray tracing as well, at 4K, while also testing frame gen and upscaling. And I guess Thermal Grizzly is one of the major sponsors. Sparkle shows new eGPU docks, first dual GPU Thunderbolt 5 dock, and RTX 3060. Yes, the RTX 3060 released 6 years ago, returning. We should put this in the... Oh, did I close the tab? I think I closed the tab. We need to put this and the Maxon Polaris RX 580 news together. These old GPUs being brought back from retirement. And they're like, I'm tired, boss. Power Color shows Radeon RX 9000 prototypes with UV reactive backplates. That's pretty cool. PC UV lights are so 90s though. Excuse me? I did that at mid-2000s. It is still hot during mid-2000s. Man, back in the 90s, you didn't even have windows on your cases. Computer cases back then were solid metal. What do you mean UV lightings? You're on something. You're smoking something, Ryder-kun. Anyway, Power Color also showed a design called the Architecture. This one's based on Radeon RX 9070 XT Hellhound Spectral White and uses artwork inspired by a bare PCB. 3D print your own case that is also the custom water cooling loop. Oh, I think I saw the news about that. And it didn't even have any radiators, right? Because the surface area of the distro plate-ish case was so big. AMD says Ryzen 5 9600X3D may still launch later this year. This is the 6-core version of their single CCD X3D CPU. NVIDIA 50 Super Series GPUs supposedly back on track. These GPUs were supposed to use 3GB VRAM chips versus 2GB VRAM chips, thereby increasing the VRAM capacity by 50% across the board. So RTX 5070 was 12GB of VRAM. RTX 5070 Super would have 12 times 1.5, so 18GB of VRAM. And RTX 5080 was 16GB, would go up to 24GB, was the RTX 5080 Super. This initially got canned, supposedly, in the background, because, it was never publicly announced by NVIDIA. Supposedly it was canned due to high VRAM pricing, but now it's making a comeback. I don't know. Yeah. 5080 has 256-bit memory bus. At 32-bit each, that's 8 chips. So 8 times 3 is 24 if you're using 3GB modules, also known as 24 gigabit modules. 1 byte equals 8 bit. Therefore, 24 gigabit equals 24 gigabit equals 3 gigabyte. Well, actually, since 5090 is already 32GB, a 5090 Super using 3GB chips would have 48GB of VRAM. Would be very cool. I'm pretty sure that's what the RTX 6000 is, because it has 96GB of VRAM. I'm pretty sure it's got double-sided clamshell VRAM config. So it's double of 4896. Probably because the 4090 was 24GB. Now, the most exciting news is, I suppose, 12GB 5060 making a return, or 60 class 12GB making a return. I would rather see that 12GB on a 5060 Ti, but whatever. Valve confirms Steam Machine and Steam Frame to a summer launch window. Today we're expanding the verified program to include Steam Machine and Steam Frame, both of which are shipping this summer. As with Steam Deck Verified, the goal is to help customers understand the out-of-box experience for a given title on these new devices and how smoothly a game will run with no user work or configuration required. Yeah, so finally a bit more concrete launch window than coming 2026. Well, initially it was Initially, the statement, I think, was early 2026, and then it got changed to just 2026, and now we know it's coming summer 2026. And AMD, advanced marketing disaster. They just don't know what they're doing. AMD FSR 4.1 to skip RDNA 3.5 integrated graphics. Radeon 890M, 880M, and Strix Halo iGPUs are not on the confirmed list. According to Hardware Lux, AMD does not currently plan to bring 4.1 to RDNA 3.5 graphics. According to McAfee, FSR 4.1 is not currently planned for RDNA 3.5. They stated that they need to weigh the pros and cons of the implementation. Currently, the decision seems to be leaning towards no. And then Frank Azor came and added to it, I wasn't there to hear the exact words said. However, I will share that no such decision as being reported and implied here has been made. We are not ready to speak to any other potential future product plans at this time. We continue to listen to our customers and we hear you. They don't want to talk about customer products, consumer products, even though they're ready, always willing to talk about upcoming Epic and Radeon Pro stuff. No, not Radeon Pro. What's that? Instinct. Radeon, not, is it Radeon Instinct or is it just Instinct? Anyway. AMD's Jacqueline on RDNA 3.5 FSR 4.1 support. We want to make sure the experience and the quality is right, so having a sufficient amount of compute within that product, whether it's a GPU or an APU or whatever, to ensure that you know the performance benefit. When asked about whether this means FSR 4.1 is coming to RDNA 3.5, Huynh said, I did not say it's coming. Why? Even though RDNA 3, even older architecture, is getting FSR 4.1 or 4, whatever. Why is RDNA 3.5 not getting FSR 4.1? Why, AMD? Anyway, yeah, that's it for Computex news. That was like 50 minutes worth of Computex news, which seems very short. Because we didn't have many interesting announcements. I was hoping for Nova Lake or Zen 6 announcement, and of course, none of that happened. Consumers get scrapped while the big AI is taking all the hardware. Yay. Anyway, that's it for the stream. A short 1-hour stream today. Man! It's like Kung Fu typing by himself the entire time, and then I say the stream's over, and now you guys are like using Artist Fair, huh? No, I'm going. Bye. See you tomorrow during Final Fantasy XIV stream, where we will be exploring more of Rielle. We're just suffering in no tech. Suffer with me. I really wanted to hear Nova like announcement, and the closest thing we got was the Gigabyte motherboard. Anyway, thanks for coming. See you tomorrow. Viva! I'm hoarding all the DDR5 until it's $2,000 per 32 gigabyte. I do have like over 128 gigabyte of DDR5 right now, but I need that. Bye! 마차님니다. 강풀이바, 라이너스이바. 1500! Oh, SGD, okay. Thoughts on all the game announcements? What game announcements at Computex? Yes, there was the Sony PlayStation launch, or not the launch, game show, and then the other game show, but we're not here to talk about that right now. Anyway, bye everyone, diba, 뿅! Oh.